Joe Skeletor Giannakis.
What's going on, YouTube? We're back for the UFC 311 breakdown, recap, and future picks, matchmaking. Big night for the UFC, big card, top to bottom. I'd probably grade it like an 8. It was really good, a lot of upsets, a lot of scraps. Main event kind of went how I thought it would go. Talked about a lot of it in the breakdown and preview. Some of it came to fruition. Bets weren't one of those things. But anyways, let's get into it. Biggest points for me, starting with the Peyton Talbot Raoni Barcelos fight. Barcelos showed up and showed out. You know, he won every round. He did great, and he locked Peyton Talbot down. He wasn't putting out any offense, and even when you could tell he looked comfortable on the feet, or it looked like he was about to start going off, he just couldn't get it going. There was something that seemed like it was almost holding him back, whether it be some injury or lack of cardio, or he would just get put in the blender from Barcelos. Really impressed with Barcelos' performance. Interested to see who he fights next. And Talbot definitely has to get back in the lab. He's got a lot of work to do. I think he's got plenty of time. He's still a young kid. I think he's just another one of those guys that got put in the spotlight, was on every podcast and doing interviews everywhere and all this behind-the-scenes stuff. Now he's in a good place where he can focus on improving. I still think you see him in the top 5, potentially by even the end of the year. Probably the most disappointing fight performance or fighter of the night is probably Kevin Holland. You know, he was on the Jackson podcast ahead of the fight, said he didn't care about the fight Saturday, he loved the fight Rampage, and honestly his performance looked like it. He didn't look like he cared to be in there. You know, for better and for worse, I said it, but a lot of people are saying it now, he's the new age Cowboy Cerrone. There's times in Cowboy's career where you love to watch him fight, and there's other times you're like, the hell did I just sit down to watch? You know, overall, you still like him, you're still a fan of him, but they can be very disappointing, and they can put on some highlight performances. That was a disappointing one from Kevin Holland. You know, one jab, quick takedown, no movement, no shrimping, wasn't trying to get up too much, and just a quick tap. I was pretty upset about that performance. I thought that was going to be, like I said in the preview, I thought this was the one where he just shows up, shows out, and then maybe the next 2 after that, he doesn't really care and he ends up taking a few losses. Interesting to see where his head's at after that fight. Almost like he's a little too laid back. I don't want to say he's just there for the check, even though he said he's there for the check, but he wants a bigger check. But why wouldn't you be trying to win? It's a really weird performance overall. Yuri Prochazka Jamal Hill fight went just about as I thought it would. Either Jamal Hill was going to keep catching him and put Yuri away, and he did tag him early. He was landing, and then Yuri remembered, oh, I have head movement. Apparently it's something he's been working on, like I said in the preview if you watched it. I personally want Yuri to win. I'm going to have to pick Jamal Hill, though, if Yuri hasn't made those changes to his defense. I feel like his offense is fine how it is. It's awkward, it's long, it comes from weird angles. There's not much that needs to change there, but the defense needs to be there. You can't rely on your chin for your whole career. I think that Yuri's best chance is to actually implement some defense, counter-punching, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, he got tagged early, and then he finally adjusted. He found his range, he found his flow, and he had his hands down still. He was making Jamal miss, and then the big counter-strikes at the end to put him away. It was super impressive. If we've got a new mythical fighter with Yuri with head movement, I think that's a lot of trouble for the light heavyweight division. I don't know about for Pereira, but I'll watch that fight every single time they book it. So if Pereira can get through Ankalaev, give me Yuri versus Alex part 3. I don't care. I'm there. I'm in the seat. Umar versus Merab went just about how I think everybody would go, minus the result. It was a great fight. You know what I mean? Off the rip, Umar dominated the first 2 rounds. I've seen some people arguing that he won some of the later rounds. My initial gut reaction, as soon as that fight ended, was Merab takes it on the cards. I thought Umar lost the fight. I thought it was super, super close, but I thought it was super clear. After seeing other people's opinions and some of the numbers, I'd really like to go watch it back and see if I'd feel the same way. As I think about it more and more, Merab didn't change anything that he normally does. His pace is out of this world. You know what I mean? His pace is better than any fighter that I've ever seen. He's able to just keep coming forward every single fight. Problem being, take whether you hate Umar or you love Merab out of it. In the later rounds, with the takedowns, breaks GSP's record for the most takedowns in UFC history. But what did he do with them? Like I said, I have to go back and rewatch it, but from my memory and from what I'm reading and all the numbers I'm seeing, it's just seeming like he did the same thing he does every time. Pressure, 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 takedowns, goof around, showboat, talk to the crowd, talk to the corner, get back up and do it again. Now, it can be impressive, and I'm very impressed by it, especially doing somebody like Umar. But judging criteria says that a takedown does not win you rounds, does not win you fights, unless you're doing something with it. And showboating is not doing something with it. So I'm kind of back on the fence about the fight. I definitely think that there's a rematch that needs to happen, especially now knowing that Umar shattered his hand in the first round and still dominated the second round. Do I think that's why he started to slow down in later rounds? Of course not. Merab's pressure, Merab's pace was insane, but it's a little bit easier to keep a wrestling pressure and pace when you don't have to do a lot of jiu-jitsu. You don't have to do a lot of damage. You're not striking and throwing punches with guys. Interesting fight all the same. You know, obviously he was still landing on the feet. You know, I'm not saying that Umar won that fight or should have won that fight handedly, but I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch it and see if my opinion changes at all. But with all the information now, I'm not mad at the judges for giving it to Merab, but I would like to see how it looks. You know, taking all the showboating out of it, talking to Khabib, talking to the judges, take it all out. Judging criteria, does Merab win that fight? I don't know, but I definitely want to see that rematch happen. Crazy fight. You know, all the haters are saying Umar didn't deserve the fight. Now he doesn't deserve a rematch. Get somebody to fight him. Get a top guy to fight him. I'm sure Umar will fight him no problem. And then put him right back in title contention and run it back. I don't really see anybody else in that weight class giving Umar and Merab problems. I think that Umar walks through O'Malley. I think it's a flashy fight because the way O'Malley fights. But yeah, I think that Umar and Merab are those top two guys, and they're going to be scrapping it out for that #1 spot. Main event, Islam and Money Moicano. Broke my heart, but went exactly how we thought. Islam is just too good, man, you know? And for everybody saying that Moicano dropped him, watch it in slow-mo. Islam's arms up, hits him right in the tricep, and he slips and he goes down. Nobody's getting dropped from a punch to the tricep. I'm sorry to break it to you. I love them both, but it was a slip. It was not a knockdown. I don't know if they counted it as a knockdown. I sure hope not, because it definitely wasn't. But yeah, as soon as that happened, Islam got right to work, got his Darce. He loves that short Darce choke, and yeah, he locked it up, and it was game over for Money. But that being said, you know, Moicano got paid well, Dariush got his show and his win money, Islam got paid well, Umar and Merab got $50K for the night. I'm sure that I didn't look and see if Islam got a bonus, but probably should have. It was a great fight. Islam did what he had to do, and as far as what's next, he can really do whatever he wants. I've seen a lot of people saying Topuria next. I think the problem is, especially with the casuals, Islam's never going to be in a spot where he's winning in their eyes because he hasn't fought anybody. He fought Moicano. He didn't fight a #1 contender. Again, you can't have him fight another featherweight. Even if it's Topuria, who knocked out Volkanovski, knocked out Holloway, doesn't matter. He goes up, he fights Islam. If he gets smoked, or even if it's close and Islam still wins, like the first Volkanovski fight, people are going to say, oh, he can't even beat a 45er, or oh, he only beats other 45ers coming up. But Islam wants to go up. I think he beats Bilal at 170. I don't want to say he beats Duplessis at 185, but skill for skill, I mean, I think he beats Duplessis at 185. Duplessis just looks horrible and wins. So that one actually, I hate to say, interests me a little bit. Glad to see that he said that he's not going to 205. He said going to fight Pereira at 205 is absolutely too much weight. But if he were to win the 155, 170, 185 belt, that would be absolutely insane. And I definitely think if anybody were to be a 3-division champ, I think it'd be him. I think that he's the guy that has all the skills, the mentality. He's super, super interesting. But yeah, there's so many possibilities for Islam, for Umar, for Merab. I don't know who Merab fights next. If it's not Umar immediately, I don't want to see the O'Malley rematch. You know, Umar had 10 times of a competitive fight than O'Malley did with Merab. So, I don't know. I think Umar Merab 2 is the way to go. You know, maybe give them both some time. Umar's got to heal his hand. Merab came in with, I think, a cut or something he had stitched up on his leg. Let them both rest. You know, let the division keep moving unless a clear-cut #1 contender comes out. I think that rematch needs to happen. I think Islam can fight anybody in or above his weight class. I don't think the Topuria fight makes sense. Moicano, give Moicano Paddy Pimblett. Fuck it. You know, Paddy did his little fight companion. Paddy was talking shit. He's on Twitter talking more shit. I think Moicano fucks Paddy up or gets knocked the fuck out. Paddy's a brawler. Paddy's not a jiu-jitsu or a judo guy like they say. He's a scrapper. He comes out there, he throws hard, he throws fast, and he gasses himself out. Moicano fights like he did against Saint Denis. I think he puts Paddy away in the first. I really don't think Paddy has much to give Moicano on the ground. I don't think he has much to give him in the wrestling. I'd be worried about Moicano's chin. Though he's been on a tear, minus the Islam fight, he has been chinny at 55 and 45. I'd really just like to see how he is feeling after that fight, but Paddy fight makes the most sense. I think they both get good money. I get to watch Paddy get beat up. I'm always all for that. But Jamal Hill, I don't know what Jamal Hill does next. Probably just get back in the gym and turn the podcast off for a little bit, you know. Granted, there was a lot of hate that he got after the fight. He was very emotional after his loss. I'm the same. You know, people just kick a man while he's down. I'm never going to be about that. But his actions prior to all that, some may say that he deserves it. But I think the best thing for Jamal Hill to do would be to not record a video, not go live, not do his podcast and talk shit about fans or Pereira or Jiri. Don't talk shit about anybody. Get back to work. Win your title back, if that's so be it. But I don't think he's doing himself any favors outside of the octagon. He's not building any more fans. You know, a little bit of pity for everybody being so rough to him after the loss. Like I said, nobody deserves that after a loss, but he needs to do better for himself. He needs to build his fan base back, or just do nothing outside of the cage. Just get back to work. Get back to work and get back into fighting. And don't worry about social media, especially Twitter. Twitter is the best and the worst of the fan base, all in one spot, so don't even sweat that. Who would be next for Kevin Holland? I have no idea. 170, middleweight. Unless he changes things up, I feel like it's mental more than anything, but unless he changes up his attitude, he can fight whoever. He'll put on a banger show, or he'll get steamrolled, and it'll bounce back and forth, and the fans will watch every single time. He is the new day cowboy, for better or for worse. I can't say like I'm excited for his next fight, but he'll book a fight and I'll be excited for it anyways, and then we just see what we get. And that's who Kevin Holland is. It's a coin flip. You're going to get the best or the worst performance, and people are going to watch no matter what, and that's what the UFC wants, and that's what they love. So give him anybody at 170. Give him Buckley again at 70. Why not? Screw it. Does he deserve the fight? No, but he beat Buckley. They're going to trash talk each other. If I have to pick somebody, give him Buckley. Who cares? Those are my biggest takeaways from UFC 311. I appreciate you guys if you're watching the video to made it to this point. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you want to see next and who you thought won Merab versus Umar. What do you think next for everybody? Appreciate y'all.